Hi, I'm Curtis Everett from Saint Studios Films, and today I'm going to do something a little bit different. So, you obviously heard in the news that Barbara Broccoli and Michael G. Wilson, they decided to sell the creative rights for the James Bond series to their partner Amazon MGM. And so that means that in the future, that's the company that's going to be putting out James Bond films. And they have already been partnered with them for a while, but now I believe that Michael was getting, he's in his 80s, and so he was wanting to retire, and Barbara didn't want to shoulder the responsibility of that particular franchise by herself, and so she decided to take a step back. Both of them did, and so they sold the rest of their rights in the franchise. And I had actually tried to pitch to them. I had written their company and I'd actually made it through about 3 rounds of emails until, they were just so busy getting different awards. They've been awarded all sorts of different awards from producers guilds and such like that, I think they were just too busy. And so eventually those emails, it sounded like they wanted to see what I had for a while, but then it just reverted back to, oh, well, we cannot accept unsolicited materials. Um, but anyway, James Bond is something I love James Bond. I have been obsessed, with that series since before I moved down here from Alaska. So I'd say probably around fourth grade, I started watching those movies. And then in fifth grade, it just, I watched them all, and that was back in the days of Blockbuster or Movie Gallery. And so I would go rent the James Bond films, and sometimes I would, buy them or get them for Christmas presents. And I really just loved the Bond franchise. And it actually inspired me as a storyteller. I created my own secret agent and I sent him on all these different adventures. His name's Damian Fox. And so, I got this. This is, the 50th anniversary box set. It goes all the way from Dr. No to Skyfall. I have the Spectre Blu-ray, but it's a loose disc in my Blu-ray book, and then I have this. And I thought this James Bond film was excellent. A lot of people were not thrilled by it and didn't like how it ended, but I thought they did a masterful job with how they ended that film and Daniel Craig's tenure. I think Daniel Craig is an excellent James Bond, and the only film that I thought was not that great was Spectre, and that's just because it was trying to do the exact same thing that Skyfall did. It just didn't do it as well. So anyway, today what I'm going to do is I'm not going to give you the whole pitch. I'm not going to tell you exactly what I have in mind for my James Bond story, but I figured, it might be an interesting idea just to put this out there into the atmosphere. Maybe it'll get shared to the right person. Maybe Amazon MGM will see this, because this is something I would like to see. Because when they did No Time to Die, I mean, spoiler alert for those of you who haven't seen it, it just kind of presses the reset button. And so the possibilities are endless to whatever you want to do with the next James Bond film. And so, there's so many people online. You have all these betting pools, you have all these fan castings and everything, but there are literally, I think, bookies that are taking bets for who's going to be the next James Bond. And there's this long list, all these different people on the list who to be the next James Bond. And I went through and Googled it and, got some of the names on that list. So, on that list, we have James Norton, Aaron Taylor Johnson, Harris Dickinson, Theo James, Paul Mescal, Reggie Jean Page, Richard Madden, Idris Elba, Henry Golding, Sam Huhan, and Dev Patel. But those are just some of the names. There's even more. I mean, it's the list has gotten huge because every year there's a new emerging British actor that is just really capturing the eye of the public. And so the thing is, you have all these people betting on who's going to be the next James Bond, and it seems like they're going to choose one name. But I'll tell you what would be amazing is if they didn't just pick one name off this list for the next James Bond film. What they did is they chose several, or most of them, And so you have a movie where it's, this very ethnically diverse cast, all these different people who are vying to be the next 007. And so you don't know until the end of the movie who the next James Bond is. So that means you would actually have to go see the movie before it's like, oh yeah, he's the next James Bond, let's write this off at the bookies. Like, you actually have to go and see the movie. There's a little bit of mystery into who is going to be the next 007. And I just think that would be really, a character-driven film. You could really do a lot with it. I have a whole premise and story. I'm going to save that for a different video. If Amazon MGM reaches out to me, I already have the whole thing planned out in my head of where it could go. But I would say cast as many actors on this list, and you would get so many people talking because, there's all these people who are like, oh, so-and-so is going to be the next James Bond. Well, yeah, if you cast, 6 or 7 names on that list, the people are not going to know what to think, especially if you don't say who they've been cast as. They're just in the movie. So you have a lot of the candidates from that 007 pool who are in the same movie together, and you won't know until the end of the movie who the next 007 is. Come on, that's a cool idea, and I would watch it, lifelong James Bond fan, and I really think it would tie, things together and, what could be done next with the franchise. And like I said, Amazon MGM, if you need an idea for a story, I got the whole thing up here, so just reach out to me.